Welcome to Bachelor,
a podcast so educational it could be a university class.
With your hosts,
Danielle Dick McHugh,
Kim Hanna,
and Bill Henninger.
Hi, everybody. I'm calling this Golden Bachelor in Paradise with Bachelordemia this season since we're consolidating two. Just killed a bug. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that right in front of the microphone. Two shows in one because the Bachelor franchise is doing that to us. Hello, Bill. How are you?
I'm good. I've been calling it the Golden Paradise. Or sometimes when I want to be edgy, I call it the Golden Shower, Bachelor's Golden Shower.
I don't like that one as much.
Yeah, I don't like it as much either, but it does make me giggle because I'm a 13-year-old at heart.
As are we all.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I've had this is my first full weekend home with absolutely nothing in, I want to say 6 weeks.
Wow.
And even though I haven't actually been home all of it, I'm sleeping in my own bed all of the days. And so that counts. And it's been glorious.
That's huge. Nice.
Absolutely. Well, I guess last week, I lied. Last weekend, I had an all weekend home weekend too. But 2 weekends in a row is kind of a big deal.
I was in Indianapolis. I'm making up cities now that I was in. I was in Minneapolis. I was in Minneapolis, not in Indiana.
Indianapolis is a real place, though.
Well, yeah, I said I was making up cities that I've been to in the last 3 days. So I was in Minneapolis. I combined in and Minneapolis into Indianapolis for 3 days with our interior design program. And it was awesome. And they are really cool students and they are very passionate about interior design, which makes me happy because, we put programs. But I wouldn't be lying if I didn't say at 5 o'clock, we had a bathroom break between here and Minneapolis, and they were wandering around, and I'm like, let's go, guys. I want to get home. I want to drink liquor with my pets and watch trash TV and go to bed at 9:15.
Why did you need a bathroom break? It's only 3 hours.
Well, and it's a charter bus, but there was some squeamishness around using the charter bus toilet.
Oh, don't use charter bus bathrooms. No.
I was like, y'all use the bathroom. And they're like, we were told not to. And I was like, well, I am the highest ranking official on this trip. And I'm saying we need to be using, because I need to get home. I have had a wonderful time. You all are great. I want to be alone. Yeah.
So those kids clearly have never been on road trips with parents who say we're not stopping unless I need to stop. But luckily for us, my dad has the smallest bladder of anyone I know. So we were stopping all the time.
And I have a small bladder too, but I was just like, there's no need to stop, y'all. We do not need Funyuns.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour drive. Yeah. If the Gilligan's Island people can handle 3 hours, they can handle 3 hours.
Exactly. And what happens when you get off track? If Gilligan Island taught us anything, you get off track and you're screwed.
100%. You live on an island for 8 seasons and then the Harlem Globetrotters show up. Although that would be cool. All right, let me circle us back to the actual show that we're talking about.
I had forgot the Harlem Globetrotters showed up on Gilligan's Island.
The Harlem Globetrotters were everywhere in the 70s.
Yeah.
And the 80s. I feel like they showed up on the Ghostbusters cartoon that I watched a couple of times.
Oh, yeah, they did. They had their own cartoon, I remember.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, okay. Awesome. Yay, right, Harlem Globetrotters.
One more detour. Remember there was a cartoon that was called Pro Stars, and it had Bo Jackson, Wayne Gretzky, and Michael Jordan, and they solved crimes.
I do remember.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of that one. And now as an adult, I'm like, man, little kids will believe anything you tell them that,
Was it their actual voices?
I think they voiced it, yeah.
That's
and then
cool.
I watched The Last Dance, the documentary on Michael Jordan and the Bulls. And it's Michael Jordan's a dick. He would have never solved crimes. He would have been
he's not a nice person.
Oh, yeah.
But I was obsessed with Bo Jackson because Bo knows everything. If those posters are a lie, I don't want to know. But according to posters in my classrooms, Bo knows everything.
Bo is kind of the Kim Hanna of sports because Kim knows everything about pop culture.
Yes. I want that on a t-shirt. Bo Jackson is the Kim Hanna of sports.
He wears Kim Hanna pajamas. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna say this knowing that neither my brother-in-law or my sister listen to this, I'm pretty sure, but I think I'm gonna get them like pajamas with pictures of their dogs on them for Christmas.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think they will, like they usually do, and I give them stuff. They'll look at me like, why did you spend money on this? But it makes me giggle, so I don't care.
Awesome. All right.
Okay.
Back to the show.
Back to Bachelor, Golden Paradise or Golden Bachelor in Paradise. I'm not gonna say Golden Shower.
Bachelor's Golden Shower. Yeah.
Bachelor's. I don't think they shower on the island, so that's a lie. Okay.
Yeah.
So during Thursday night's Golden Bachelor, we were we were graced with a glorious, cheesy flash mob dance montage to Don't Stop Believin'. And so my question to you for my question of the week is, if you could be in a dance montage flash mob, what song would you want it to be and why?
So first off, I think flash mobs, and I all know that this show has just basically become a like long string of things that I don't like, and you all have to listen to me complain about Pizza Ranch or macaroni and cheese. I also hate flash mobs. I think they are the devil of like just people wanting to show. I don't like them, but
How are we
if I
friends?
had to, probably the Time Warp from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Mhm.
If you're gonna dance, why not do the Time Warp, right?
I like it. I similarly went with a song that already does have a dance montage to it.
Hmm.
One of my favorite movies, and this is not a guilty pleasure movie. This is like top 10 favorite movies.
Okay. Yeah.
Is Grease 2.
I've never watched.
Not Grease, but
Okay.
Grease 2. Every song is a banger. Every song is a double entendre.
Nice.
I have multiple songs from the soundtrack on my Spotify liked list. I believe I put one of them on our softball playlist this summer. And
People
the one
weren't
that
happy. Yeah.
what?
People weren't happy.
I know, and I don't care.
Yeah.
So that song is the song I would want. I would want to do a flash mob group dance montage to We're Gonna Score Tonight, which is the song they sing in the bowling alley while they're bowling. And the joke is they're gonna score some strikes, but also have sex because it's teenagers in the early 60s, and that's all they know what they want to do. And I love, this means nothing to you because you just said you've never seen the movie, but Paulette has the greatest costume ever in this scene, and I would want to wear her costume and be because I love bowling and doing this song. Someday I want to be literally at a bowling alley, just bowling. This song comes on the soundtrack speaker, and we literally do this song in a bowling alley.
Well, I'm gonna have a lot of time to watch movies, so maybe I should put it on my. I have like 3 weeks off work coming up. Maybe I should put.
I feel like you have to go into it with a really open mind.
High on pain meds. That'll be.
That might be the best way to see it for the first time if you're an adult.
I may have to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a lot of movies out there that you need to have seen as a kid first. This might be one of them. So Michelle Pfeiffer, who is the star of Grease 2, has gone on record saying she hates this movie, and that makes me sad because she's awesome in it. So
really,
yeah,
there you go.
Cool writer. Oh, I'm just singing all the songs in my head right now. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah,
Golden.
There's a Joe Dirt too, by the way. If we're talking about movies you didn't know that there was a sequel to, there is a Joe Dirt too. And I consider Joe Dirt to be the height of comedy. Of things I do like, I love Joe Dirt. So
I've never seen Joe Dirt.
Yep. Oh, it's wonderful. Okay, sorry, go.
Joe Dirt has a sequel. Yeah. Is the original cast in the sequel?
Oh yeah. What's the dude who was in all of Chris Farley's movies? David Spade. He's in both of them.
Well, he needs to make some money, so it makes sense that he would do a sequel.
All right. Here we go.
Okay. So I actually watched the shows in order this week because I watched them at your house with your wife and you weren't there. Um, and I bonded with the new kitten and she got right in my face and then she kept trying to eat my cheese. And that's not a euphemism. She kept trying to eat my cheese, but she's really cute. Now, we're going to do the way I'm going to do the show flow for this season of Bachelormania is a little different because it's impossible to do recaps of both episodes and not go completely over time. So
Mhm.
instead of a recap, I thought we could just talk about some of the things that happened and some of our thoughts.
Mhm.
So we had, so there was the featured, the one-on-one date this week with Gary. I don't like how he spells his name. Is it Gary or Jerry? Jerry. He
I don't know.
spells it like Gary, but it's Jerry. Mr. Golden.
I
His
think it's Jerry.
one-on-one, is it Jerry? Jerry.
No, I think it's Gary.
Gary.
Do
That's
the
why you shouldn't name your children Gerald. It's not a good name.
Yeah.
Anyway, so his one-on-one was with Teresa. And what did we
Gary.
think about Gary? Okay.
Yep.
Nope. What did we think about their date? This was where the dance montage was. The poor man was made to drive a convertible in LA traffic at night and he was freaking out.
And
What did we
his headlights weren't working.
I know, they shouldn't have put him on the interstate. You can get anywhere in LA on non-interstate roads. It
Well,
might take a little longer.
as I was watching it, I was like, why are they making this poor guy do this? Like, certainly they have a van that's following him. Like, you have him drive for 2 minutes, not on the interstate, and
To
then you
get
put him in the van. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Also,
a safety issue.
like, you know that they're more mature in their well, first of all, you know that they're on a first date because she's not screaming at him.
Yes.
Because the top is down and her hair is getting all messed up after she spent time doing her hair. So you know they haven't been married for 45 years. Because if they'd been married for 45 years, they would have been screaming at each other.
Top would have been up.
The top wouldn't have come down in the first place. She would be yelling at him. He'd be yelling at her. There would be all kinds of stress.
What turn? What turn do I make?
No, you went. You missed it. It was just back there. No, you missed it. Oh boy,
I
I
can't
feel
see.
like both
The goddamn lights don't work.
Yeah, there would be so many swear words if this was a normal couple in their early 70s on a road that they were unfamiliar with, based on some knowledge that I may or may not have.
Yeah.
But what did we think of their date? What did we think of their conversation?
I thought that they were supportive of each other. And I always say that, like, the best way to tell if you can marry someone is to go on a vacation with them where stuff goes sideways. And if you can leave still liking each other, you've probably got a pretty good, like, head start on being able to be married. Because it is, marriage is a lot of good times and then some crappy times, and it's really about how quickly you get back to the good times when the crappy ones kind of come in, and how you support each other. And I thought they were pretty supportive. So,
yeah.
What about you?
I like Teresa. I think she is spunky and fun. I think he really likes her. I thought it was a little weird that she was talking about her dead husband and then it went into the Don't Stop Believing song. Like, was he just waiting for her to stop talking so that he could launch into this song, or was he actually listening? So I had some questions about that. I get annoyed when it's clear, like, it was so clear that everyone else in that restaurant was an actor.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's easier for them to do that than to have everybody else sign releases.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a really cute date, and I think they had a really good time on it. It was just kind of weird to go from talking about your husband who you married when he was ready, like right before he shipped off for Vietnam. You were 18, you were married for 40 years, and then he died, and then they launch into Journey.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Is there like a journey like musical that came from? It just
No.
seems so odd. Or are they just gonna cram "Don't Stop Believing" down our throat for
I think
some?
they're gonna cram "Don't Stop Believing" down our throats. I was trying to think. I think maybe "Don't Stop Believing" is in Rock of Ages, which
Mm,
is a musical that has a ton of hair band songs in it. But "Don't Stop Believing" was like a huge anthem on Glee.
okay.
And so I don't know if so you might be thinking, I don't know if you watched Glee, but maybe that's where you were thinking it
I
came
watched
from.
some of it. It was a good show for like two
It was
seasons.
good for a while and then it
Yeah.
got bad fast. But yeah, so I don't think, but like, don't like, they're in a 1950s diner. They're in the
Mhm.
early 70s, which means they were at the most like seven at the end of the 1950s. I don't know what 1960s diners looked like, but they again, I'm a stickler for the things that don't matter. But like
Right.
they're in a 1950. They're like, oh man, I just loved going to the diner when I was a kid. I was like,
Fries
what?
and shakes. Fries and shakes.
Maybe in Indiana, 1950s diners
Mm.
were like a decade late, kind of like how
Like the
sometimes
50s
things
and the
in
60s.
Iowa late.
Yeah.
Maybe the 50s were the 60s and the 60s were the 70s in rural Indiana.
It's like how on How I Met Your Mother, they always talk about how Canada got the 90s like 2 decades late.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. I thought it was cute. I thought they were cute. I still feel like the show is trying way too hard to be like old people can only be nostalgic,
I know.
and they're just lucky that they're still alive. They should be grateful that they're still alive, and it's like they got a lot to live and they're both really healthy people. Like they probably going to live into their 90s, you know. So yeah.
Well, that's a good segue into the next thing we were going to talk about, which is the photo shoot with Franco,
Yeah.
um, and how they had to choose costumes for their romance novel cover
That
photo
was
shoot.
weird.
Which also made me laugh. Like, I mean, I do think that that is a generation of ladies that loved and love their Harlequin romance novels. I think the romance novels have gotten a lot better and
Mm.
are a lot more mainstream than they were back in the day. But I do appreciate that he definitely put on a Fabio wig and he looked terrible in it, but that the women were, they were either in I think it was the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the Renaissance kind of fantasy, and then wedding dresses. Did they not think people would be nostalgic in a bad way by putting on a wedding dress?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how they just threw the wedding dresses, and it's like we have period, and then all of a sudden, like,
They didn't need those.
no, yeah.
There
Um,
are dozens of other decades of costumes they could have done and not
yes.
had the wedding dresses be an option.
Thinking so, going back to something you said, the person we really need here is Danielle because she loves a good trashy romance
I
novel.
know.
She would have been able to really give us some insight on the state of romance novels now and previously. But I agree with you. And it seems this wedding dress thing, like they're just not gonna like they're not gonna have a real bachelor. Like they're not gonna give these people like the bachelor experience. They're gonna talk about how they're old and they should just, but they're still gonna force them to like wear wedding dresses. And I
Hmm.
don't get it. Yeah. I was like,
Hmm.
what is the point of yeah. So
What episode do you think will be the football game or the dodgeball game? Because I feel like they're gonna make them do some sort of group act, like sports activity. Well, maybe it'll be pickleball, but
it's going to be
sports activity.
pickleball. Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, they can't resist the urge to make the old people play pickleball. Which I'm in for that because I don't know an older person that is active that isn't like I love pickleball. I play pickleball all the time.
Well, one of them is a co-captain. She's
Yes.
like a
Yeah.
legit pick. That's what her thing says under her name every time they show her name.
Yeah.
I feel like they keep trying to like they talked about Franco as if he's like the biggest celebrity to ever come out of the franchise. And granted, as soon as I saw the photo shoot setup, I went, "Oh, we're gonna have Franco," and I did
Yeah.
remember him by name.
Hmm.
But that's my own cross to bear. I don't think that Franco is as big of a deal as he is, unless he is a big deal with some of the older audience members, because they're like, look, we're cool. We can like gay people. We can enjoy this fun man who's taking pictures on TV. I that thought crossed my mind when they had Franco on this time. And I don't know if I'm being I don't know if I'm being fair, but that was kind of my thought when Franco showed up this time
Well, they
around.
had a guy, this was before you watched, that was like
Okay.
the luggage carrier, and people loved him. Like, you know, the luggage carrier, whenever he came, America went nuts. And so I think they have this history of having people that are like fan favorites. And they call them that, but they like have a bit part that they are on for like 10-minute segment every season and people get excited. So I think that's what they mean by it. Yeah.
Okay. What happened to the luggage guy? I would have loved to see him.
I think it's like the pandemic. I think maybe he retired or something. But yeah, he was like, yeah, he'd show up and grab luggage or, yeah. And he never said
How
anything.
you
And
knew they
yeah,
were going home
yeah,
as he came in and grabbed. Oh,
yep, yep.
that sucks. That sucks. That makes me sad.
I like
So we
Franco.
had what?
I like Franco. I
I do.
don't,
Yeah,
as a
he's
person who
in.
doesn't like having their picture taken, I never understand those dates. Like, but they seemed into it. There was one lady who was mad that someone took her 60s garb, which I thought
She
was kind
was
of interesting.
so
Yeah.
mad at Natasha because of that.
Yeah.
Was that Faith? No, that was the one that was Leslie. She's the one who says she's been with Prince. You would think if you've been with Prince, you would
Oh
want to
yeah.
wear 80s stuff, because that's clearly what you want
Yeah.
people to associate with you, or you wouldn't have brought it up in the first place.
I still don't think she's been with Prince. Prince is one of those guys that it's like there's so many legends about him you can tell, and people are just you say it and people are like maybe. I mean that guy just
Well, and I also feel like there was probably a couple year period in Minneapolis in the late 70s, early 80s where if you were downtown Minneapolis at any point, maybe you did sleep with Prince.
I think it was more likely she was in a group sex situation and Prince was there.
Oh,
And
ooh.
like maybe she was with Prince, but like she was definitely in a room where a lot of people were having sex and she was involved.
Yeah.
All I know about Prince is you don't have to be rich to be his lover. So she's got
No. And he's little. He's
yeah. He
I
makes
well,
yeah.
his stature is little. I don't know about other stuff, but his height
Oh,
is
look at your double entendre. Dang.
I love a double entendre. I love them so much. Okay. So we had the rose ceremony. Some ladies went home, but before the rose ceremony, when he's interacting with the women, the only thing he seems to bond with them over is if they also have lost a spouse,
Hmm.
or if they also are wearing hearing aids. That seems to be the only thing they really talk about on their dates. Is that I kind of wish Elaine was here to pop in on this, because I feel like, is that what people talk about when they hit a certain age? Is, oh, because I get texts from my mom about someone who died that I didn't know, and she'll be like, oh, blah 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 died. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know who that is. So I don't know if you have lost a spouse, if that's all you talk about, or if it's just the one thing he can bond with these women over in the short amount of time they have for their dates.
I wonder how much of it's production. Like
Oh,
like they want us to like think that this is all they're ever going to talk about. But I'm sure like having a spouse pass away is a major seminal moment in someone's life. And so I feel like, yeah, you probably bond around that. And I
yeah.
wonder too if it's like, it does feel good to have someone because it's like, I just don't think that's something you can really understand until you go through it.
Right.
So I'm not
So
surprised that,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
sorry.
Oh, but the hearing aids, it's like, I didn't get that one, but
Do we think then he's only actually going to have widows as his top 3 because they do have that in common?
No, I wonder if it's like something like after he meets a couple, like after he starts to weed people out, it'll become less and less of a thing. Or it's like, I
Yeah.
wonder, and I don't know the research on this. This would be good to ask somebody. I don't think this is even really in Elaine's wheelhouse, but like people who have had a spouse pass away, how likely are they to marry someone who, or long-term date someone who also had a spouse passed away? Or if it's something that like it's not predictive, but it's something they talk about to start.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I wonder too, if would it be easier if you're like, would it be easier on the whole rest of the family if the new boyfriend or girlfriend coming in had that similarity, because that means that their kids would also have that similarity, like all
Mhm.
of the adult children coming into this relationship would have experienced the loss of a parent, versus one set of children losing a beloved parent and one set of children maybe having like a deadbeat dad divorce situation, like,
I
or
do
deadbeat
know,
mom. I'm
right.
being sexist, but you know what I mean?
I do know that the general, or I've read that the general feeling with kids of parents who have had like who they've had one parent pass away is that they do really want their parent who is living to find someone else they can spend time with, not like marriage or long term, some of that is
Right,
tied up in religion, but their general feeling is I want my mom or dad to be happy, they should
right.
go do that. And so I think in that way, if you had two families that blended together, you probably have children that were pretty okay with it. It would also be
Yeah,
easier because that spouse is still not involved, right?
right, right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be fighting. I can only imagine like the nightmare holiday
Yes.
situation
Yeah.
if you have divorced parents and then
Yeah.
everybody, like, and they were demanding that, like, I would put my foot down and say, I'm an adult, we will not be going to 15 different
Right.
holidays. If you want to see, you come to me, but
Hmm.
not everybody gets to live that life. So I can just imagine the nightmare situation around all of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So we lost a few ladies at the rose ceremony, and we lost someone that
They
I
just got
realized.
eliminated. They just got eliminated. They didn't die.
Oh yeah, I shouldn't say
Oh,
lost.
Golden Bachelor humor.
3 people died during this episode. No, 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 no. But so my favorite, two of my favorites actually are now gone because Natasha did not get a rose, and Marina we all noticed about halfway through that Marina just wasn't there. And they never brought it up, they never talked about it, and then after the episode aired, apparently a bunch of people were asking where she was, so they put out a statement that she had some sort of family emergency and had to leave the show, but they never acknowledged that she wasn't there. And maybe they just ran out of time because the episodes are so tight. But I was sad, I really liked Marina,
I wonder
so
if
I'm sad.
she asked, like, she just wanted it to be private.
Yeah,
Which I
because it
think
could
kind
be.
of, yeah. I think that's interesting though, because it's like you're on a show that is like the antithesis of privacy, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like them both.
Do you have a new favorite now that they're both out?
I don't know them well enough, honestly.
Yeah,
I had to just when you were saying their names, I had to look them up, and then immediately it's like, oh yeah, I know who those are. So yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
Su- Susan is growing on me. She's the
Okay,
Italian grandma
yeah,
who has the fun short hair. I
yep.
didn't like her the first episode, but I kind of loved her this episode. Like,
Mhm.
she was doing Teresa's hair, and Teresa tried to like correct her on something, and she went, "Girl, I've been doing this for 35 years." Like that
Yeah.
sass, I loved. I loved that sass from her.
Elaine and I were talking, and it just seems like it's just so short. Like, and which is funny because all of us have complained about the length of the shows,
I
and now
know.
we're like, it's too short. We can't. It's like I think
I
90
feel like
minutes.
they should have done 90-minute episodes for both of them because
Yes.
Bachelor in Paradise is too long
Yep.
and the Golden Bachelor is too short. Or maybe even like 75 minutes for Golden Bachelor. It just feels so short, and I feel like we're missing stuff.
And with Bachelor in Paradise and Golden Bachelor, it's like it makes one look really short and one feel really long with the way they have it set up.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And the one that's really long is the emotionally immature
Yeah.
weirdos, and it's just frustrating.
Yeah, it'd be good. Like that one, you could do a like 90 minutes of that would be perfect, right?
Yeah,
It does.
absolutely.
I was talking, Elaine and I were talking about it yesterday, and it's like it really hammers home the maturity of the Golden Bachelor contestants to then like juxtapose it with Bachelor in Paradise, where they're like, "Were you dancing behind me, bro?" You know,
Yeah. Well, that's the
very
thing. Like,
whatever.
so the first week I watched them out of order. So Golden
Mhm,
Bachelor was quite the palate cleanser.
mhm,
And then this week I watched them in order because I was watching it with other people, which was so much fun.
mhm.
But I think I'm gonna go back to watching it out of order
But
because
not
it's
as
like
fun as it
kind
could
of,
have been if I were there.
well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's also true. Um, but it was also just like I did, and we'll get to it, but I did enjoy Mercedes ending out the Bachelor in Paradise episode the way she did. So it was a bit of a palate cleanser at the end, just because of how Mercedes was behaving. But
Yep.
yeah, I think I'll go back to shenanigans and then maturity instead of maturity and then shenanigans.
All right. Bachelor in
Okay.
Paradise. Let's get to the
Bachelor.
trash. Let's get
Okay.
to the trash. Oh.
Woo! So Aven shows up after last week when Kylee and Olivia were fighting over Will, who can't
Mhm.
stay out of the water. Either his clothes or himself keeps falling into the water and embarrassing himself. And Olivia said the whole time, I feel I'm already like morphing into immature Kim. Olivia was saying the whole time that Kylee is just using Will until Aven
Yep.
gets here. And then
And
Aven
boom.
walks down the steps as we all knew he would. And then he talks to both Olivia and Kylee, and Olivia is sure she's going to get the one-on-one date. But then, of course, no, because Aven has been trying to I shouldn't say
Hit it up.
Aven's been trying to get Kylee since Instagram
Yeah.
conversations. Because obviously, if you text someone the fire emoji, that means you have to marry them.
Yeah.
So they go on the most boring. Oh my God, their boat date was so boring. Like it's like
Neither,
they didn't know how to have a conversation with each other. It's
yeah,
two
neither one of
people
them.
don't know how to have a conversation with another
Yeah,
person.
they're both really good looking, and it stops there. Uh,
Yeah. I don't think they have anything in common other than he thinks she's hot and she thinks he's hot. And honestly, you're in your 20s, you do you. Go have
yeah,
fun with that. I
yeah,
have no problem with that.
yeah. They're both correct. They're both hot.
Yeah.
But like at some point, you look at the Mona Lisa long enough, and it becomes just another painting, right? Like you marry someone hot, long at some point, they're your spouse, and it's like, yeah, you got to have something else there. And man,
Yeah.
that was a painful. It's like, what do you like about me? Yeah. Um,
Well,
and
what I
then
don't
his,
like about you is you don't know how to use a bottle
oh
opener. That
Christ.
was embarrassing.
First off, he couldn't get the cork out, right?
No,
Which is not a hard task.
not on champagne.
I
It's
am
super
not a
easy.
yeah, I'm not a big guy, and I can get a cork out of a champagne bottle. But then it was like watching like a I don't know, some type of like primate try to work a cork. Like I I just
And there's so much little cork in that bottle now, the way he was trying to get it open. Ugh.
but it was like he couldn't figure out that you put that little part and then you pop it. Oh man, it was or he could have just shook it. There was a
Yeah,
point where it's like if you shake it, it's gonna pop out. Yeah.
in a pot. So, fun fact, when I was in my 20s, I also didn't know how to use a wine bottle opener like that. And I had one and I got so frustrated that I threw it away and bought one that has like the the wings
Oh,
because I didn't know how to
butterfly.
work it. I know how to work it now, but
Yeah.
I like that's something they should teach you in college. Like here's how to use a restaurant style bottle opener if you don't work in a restaurant.
Well, everyone should just buy the electric one or the rabbit where you go down and
Yeah,
but
that's
like
fun. Rabbit, yeah.
it's still not like let's be honest, this is not like a flux capacitor, right? There's very clear things that it should be used for, and I feel like maybe he was trying to be attentive, but this is what, like, when you're having conversations with people, why I feel like you should do one thing at a time, because he was crappy at both. Like, he was like, whoa, wow, really? While he's
Well,
just mangling this poor cork. I felt bad for the cork. Like, just kill it. Just
stop it.
it's got feelings.
Well, and honestly, if they really had a connection and were having a good time, she could have been teasing him a little bit, or being like, "Here, let me try," or like something to like make it a fun little. Remember our first date when you couldn't get the champagne bottle open and we worked together and we made it, like, that's a fun, like, that's a fun story. And they just, ugh.
And if you all want to know how boring the date was, this is the most noteworthy thing that happened on that date.
I know.
This was it. And then it was just like, yeah. And that's it. That's all I have to say about it.
Well, yeah. Yeah. So then we're back on the beach and Hannah B shows up and everyone acts like this is, first of all, Jesse acts like he didn't know she was going to be there.
Yeah.
Whatever. Stop playing stupid Jess. I don't like it. And then she walks down and you can tell people are going, oh, is she joining the beach? Didn't they already all know that she was in a relationship? Like, don't they all know each other outside of the universe?
Do, although I think she's like aged out of the like dating crowd.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, because she's like 29 now, so she's ancient.
She's decrepit old spinster at 29.
But she's been with that guy for like 2 years now. So I have a feeling she doesn't text with but I wondered if they were like, oh, maybe she broke up, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because some of them were like, the guys all seemed really excited that she was there. Yeah. And girls all seemed like, oh no, somebody more pretty than me just showed up.
That's
I was not the show, guys.
I was not with it. She is like, clearly her point in life now is to make money off of being herself, but she like the whole point of her showing up was to get TV time, right?
Yeah.
And
to cause chaos on the island with her bonfire
like,
stuff.
Talking shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But her whole thing is like, I'm authentic and I'm just me. And it's like, yeah, but not like, this whole thing was like a whole PR stunt. And I did not. It was
like the worst game of truth or dare when everybody had to do the truth and she already knew the answers. And she was like it was like in a high school movie where the mean girl is forcing you to say the things you don't want to say. That's what she was doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And it was like, haha, I got you on all of these.
Yeah. She was mean.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what it accomplished. Like, it didn't seem to, like, did it ruin any of the relationships?
No, what it accomplished was giving them enough stuff to fill 2 hours of screen time is what it accomplished. And it was unnecessary.
We shouldn't give her any more of our valuable time that we have on our podcast. Yeah.
All I'm going to say, though, I'm going to end it with this. There's only one Hurricane Hanna, and she is me. She is not Hannah Brown. Thank you very much. Yeah. So the other chaos creator was, and I feel like his name is Peter.
Aaron or Peter?
The boring white guy who was dancing while he was waiting for the girl to stop talking to the guy that she actually wanted to be talking to.
Yeah.
Now, if it was Peter, and I think it was, isn't that the guy that we found out all of the other men in the season hated?
Yeah, I think so.
Did we ever find out, other than clearly he can't handle not being the center of attention, did we ever find out why he was so misliked by the other guys on his season?
No, other than I think he's just annoying, which
clearly
Exhibit A. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to understand what happened in that situation, and I watched it twice, and I was like, man, like, there's just, I don't know.
Makes me feel better because I did not understand the purpose of what was going on, and I did not watch it twice. So if you watched
Yeah.
it twice and you still can't tell, that makes me feel better.
I just feel like there's this like limited resource thing that goes on there. And so then people get really like edgy about it. But it's usually only when you have, it's usually the people who have the limited resource. But there
Right.
were plenty of women. Yeah,
Right.
it was weird.
There,
Yeah,
there's more women than men because the
right.
men had the roses. So, and there, I
Yeah,
mean, Brooklyn is fun. She can rope a calf. Go talk to her.
yeah,
But maybe she'd already told him that she didn't like maybe I feel like she's a very smart person and she was probably very early on like you need to not be around me. I
yeah.
find you hideous. So maybe that was his only shot because all the other girls were kind of done with him.
Yeah.
Um interesting. Interesting. So who did Olivia end up with since rose ceremony.
Yeah.
So we get to the rose ceremony, and the obvious couples are obvious, and they give each other the roses. So it's Canada Blake with Jess, Aaron, Fiji Aaron with Eliza, Braden, and um, the girl who doesn't like bugs,
Mm,
Rachel and Sean. I'm pulling
yes.
Rachel and Sean. And then Aven chooses Kylee. They
Yep.
seem to be two beautiful people in lust.
Hmm.
So then Olivia ends up getting chosen by
Peter.
Peter.
Yep.
So
Out of
she
nowhere.
clearly, yeah, I feel like maybe they struck a bargain. Like, you pick me this week, I'll pick you next week because nobody else really likes us here, and we'll just stick together as long as
Which
we
never
can.
happens, by the way.
Never works.
Yep.
Never works.
Yep. Olivia's gonna
And
find someone better.
yeah. But I think the big surprise was so Mercedes kind of working her way through all the men. She kissed Aaron,
Hmm.
and then she clearly got Will's
Yep.
attention because Will ends up giving her a rose so that Mercedes can stay on. Now I am a Mercedes fan, and I was even more of a Mercedes fan at the end of the show when they're lying in the little mattress thing on the beach that they have, and he is talking with her and he's kissing her, and she just has this like dead eye. I've done what I need to do to be here. Like the movie
Yes.
where the wife is unhappily married and is just like lay back and look to Jesus while her husband does what he needs to do to her to get a baby or whatever. Like I was getting all those vibes from Mercedes, and it's just like,
Yes.
you're playing the game. You're waiting to see who else comes down those stairs because there's going to be more people, and you got Will to keep you going on the show. I don't hate that for her, and it made me her dead eye look at the end was so fun. I literally started laughing while we were watching it because it was so funny. She's
Has
just
she said who she wants? Like, I can't.
uh I don't
I
think so. I think she's
yeah,
playing very close to the chest.
I like it.
Yeah.
I can't find a picture of Will. But
He he's just kind of boring. So the girls that went home were the blondes.
uh,
So Brooklyn, one of the cats,
and Greer,
and who was the
Greer,
other one?
Greer.
Greer, not blonde.
Yeah.
Greer, the tea girl, who got dissed in London because she didn't get the tea date
Yep.
on her season.
Who's very cute.
She's very cute, but
Yeah.
I just don't think that the guys that were there that were the movable guys, the available guys, weren't weren't great. So the girls who could just like
Yeah.
buckle up and go along for the ride this week got through, and the ones that couldn't or didn't want to went home. So
Thing with Greer is don't if you think she's cute, don't go to her Instagram because it's
oh,
very vapid, like Kardashian, like I just
really?
not a lot of substance there. Like, yeah.
Oh man. What was her made up job when she was on The Bachelorette or on The Bachelor? What's her job? Is it Was she one of the like marketing girls, which is a real job? I shouldn't say that. That's
She works as a medical sales rep in New York.
oh.
She's the stereotype of good looking medical sales reps. Like,
I was gonna say, so does that mean she works for Big Pharma? Because I watched Painkiller on Netflix, and now I hate all
yep.
pharmaceutical sales representatives.
She was a member of Phi Beta Phi at University of Mississippi.
Sure.
She had a thing with like blackface too, didn't she? At one
Oh God. Really? Okay. Yikes. Okay.
Yeah, Greer Bachelorette blackface. Yep. She apologized for it. She was the one on the after or the women tell all where they gave her, a few minutes and she's like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so
Why did you do it in the first place?
yeah.
Okay, lessons learned. What did you learn after 3 hours of Bachelor love and lust?
I learned that I might be the problem and you all had a great time when I wasn't there. And now I'm like, maybe no. I
No.
think I learned that um that man, maturity is a real thing. And like we are seeing it. Like I knew that we would probably see some of it, but like this last week I was watching and I was like, wow, they always seemed immature and young, but it's like painful now to watch.
Yeah.
And like the awkwardness of the conversation and like the projecting of who you want to be and then watching the Golden Bachelor and the people like they know who they are and they are confident in who they are. And that's not a critique on the people on Bachelor in Paradise because I'm sure I was like that when I was 22. But it's like, man, I'm glad I don't have to watch myself at 22
Right.
like date and
100%. Like,
be
I
like,
can't be too mad at the kids on The
yes,
Bachelor in Paradise because I was also making stupid choices in my 20s.
yes. And I
Now,
just wonder what dumb stuff I said at 22. I'd be like,
right,
Bill.
right, which is why I'm glad social media did not exist then because I
Yeah.
look back even at some of the early stuff I put on Facebook. When you look at your memories, you go, oh, no. Why did you say what? Why would you post that? Why would you put that picture up? So I think that my learning lesson is that I think Natasha should be the next bachelorette, golden bachelorette, and I think that they should stop doing bachelor and bachelorette and only do golden bachelor and golden bachelorette, but also do bachelor in paradise with all the former bachelor and bachelorette characters because
It
I
would be
enjoy Bachelor in Paradise more than I enjoy Bachelor and Bachelorette, but I'm really enjoying seeing um adults have adult conversations and be thinking about also be super fun and be excited about going on a date in a convertible and going doing a photo shoot in fun costumes. Like I loved that the women for the most part loved the photo shoot and we're having a blast and all the posing and all the like checking out and complimenting each other on how great they look in their costumes. Like I just love this powerful group of women who clearly are becoming really good friends with each other. And when
yeah.
they go home, it's not like no one seems to be a villain yet. And I hope no one does become a villain because I'm enjoying them. And I'm enjoying Kathy because she's the one that's always got the face going, well, this is happening, or I'm not doing that, or I'm not doing that. But you need one of those, but she's not like evil or mean. She's
Yeah.
just saying how it is. And I love it. I love Golden Bachelor.
I'll be interested when somebody takes someone's time, how that'll go.
Oh, ooh,
Like it's gonna happen, but yeah.
can I
Because it's
steal
like,
you?
yeah, and it's gonna happen, and I think you have the right to be a little annoyed. I think the issue with regular Bachelor is how they address it.
Yeah.
So just being like,
Because I feel like if Susan was with Golden
mhm,
Man and someone said, can I steal you for a second? She would say, no, you cannot. I have
yeah,
5 more minutes left with
yeah.
him. You can wait
Or
over there. And we're done. We'll be done.
or they do the mature thing and say, can I have 5 more minutes? And I promise at 5 minutes
Right.
I will stop and I will give you your
We'll
time.
do your time.
Yep.
Yep. Fantastic. All right. Do you have a city?
I do. Tokyo. So we have listeners in Tokyo, which is really exciting. Tokyo
I
has
love Tokyo.
14 million. Have you been to Tokyo?
I've been to Tokyo.
I have not. It's on my list of like the 2 or 3 places I really, really want to go in a, within the next 5 years. So I don't have a lot to tell you about Tokyo other than it's really densely populated and big, and they have real life Mario Karts, and they also have really interesting. My understanding is there's just tons of stuff to do there.
There is. Yep. And they have a really cool tower, Tokyo Tower. It kind of looks like the Eiffel Tower. And it's beautiful.
Yeah. And it was featured in one of the Fast and the Furious, right? Tokyo Drift. Aren't you?
I haven't gotten to that one yet.
Oh.
I'm treating the Fast and Furious franchise like the MCU universe. So I'm watching them in chronological order of timeline instead of chronological order of release date.
Oh, I did not know that they jumped. Wow.
Yeah. So Tokyo Drift is actually chronologically in time after, I think, the 5th Fast and Furious. I have a show. Let me check.
Who would have known that this much thought went into Fast and the Furious? Like, I just assumed it was like, here's what we're gonna do, guys. We're gonna have some cars.
So it's actually the Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious, which is the 3rd one. Or I mean the 4th one. Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, then the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, then Furious 7, The Fate of the Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, F9, and Fast X. And I'm only in Fast and Furious right now because I only watch it at the gym, and I haven't been to the gym in a while.
Well, wow. I feel like we should put a segment in here every couple episodes where you give us your update on the Fast series. So
do you want my update right now?
Yeah.
They are terrible at writing women, and it's really annoying.
I am shook. I would have thought they would have been amazing at that.
No.
Wow.
It's so comical that it's why I watch it on the treadmill, because then I'm laughing while I'm on the treadmill because it's so bad. And I like Vin Diesel. I like the pacifier. He's bad.
All right. I feel like that's a good way. That's another lesson learned. Vin Diesel's bad.
Vin Diesel, not a great actor.
Vin Diesel.
But that's okay. He doesn't need to be. He makes a lot of money and he's not good. And I think that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful when people are bad at their jobs but keep getting hired.
Love it.
Not.
All right.
Bye, Bill.
Bye. See you, everybody.
You have been listening to Bachelor
with your hosts, Danielle Dick McGee,
Kim Hanna,
and Bill Hennig.
All thoughts and opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the person who spoke them.
If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to the show, leaving a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Also, please share with your family, friends, colleagues, and other ardent Bachelor fans.
If you have comments or questions you would like us to address on the show, you can email us at bachademia@gmail.com.
Or on the Twitter with the handle @Bachademia.
Thanks for listening.